It was just another regular school day for Mike, a father who lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood. He had 2 kids, and like any parent, he made sure their mornings went smoothly. After giving his 16-year-old daughter, Lily, a quick hug and kiss goodbye, he watched her walk into the school gates. She waved back, her long brown hair bouncing as she smiled. Mike smiled too, watching her go. The day went by quickly for him. Work was busy, and his mind stayed focused on meetings and emails. But then, in the middle of his afternoon, Mike's phone buzzed. It was a text from Lily. He glanced at it quickly. It read, "Dad, I need to talk. Meet me in the school bathroom after class." A wave of concern hit him immediately. Why the bathroom? And why did she want to talk to him right away? His heart skipped a beat. Was she in trouble? He quickly sent her a reply. "I'm on my way. Wait for me there." Mike rushed out of his office and jumped into his car. The whole time, his mind raced with thoughts. Had something happened at school? Had Lily gotten into a fight? Was she in trouble with her friends? He couldn't stop thinking about it. He pulled up in front of the school, parked his car, and walked quickly toward the entrance. The usual sounds of students chatting and laughing filled the air, but Mike couldn't focus on any of it. His only thought was Lily. He quickly made his way to the school's back hallway, where he knew the bathrooms were located. When he arrived, Lily was already waiting by the bathroom door. She was standing there, looking uneasy, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. Her expression wasn't one of her usual bright energy. Mike's heart sank seeing her like this. She was standing so still, almost as if she was preparing herself for something difficult. "Hey, sweetie," Mike said gently, walking up to her. "What's going on?" Lily glanced up at him, but her eyes quickly dropped to the floor, avoiding his gaze. "Dad, there's something I need to tell you, something important." Mike felt his stomach twist. Her tone was serious, and he could sense her nerves. "Whatever it is, you can tell me. You don't have to be scared," he reassured her, placing a hand on her shoulder. Lily took a deep breath and finally looked up at him. Her eyes were wide, filled with worry. She opened her mouth to speak, but for a moment, she seemed like she couldn't find the right words. The silence stretched on, making Mike feel even more anxious. What could be so serious that she needed to talk in private? Then, after a long pause, Lily spoke. "Dad, I'm pregnant." Mike stood frozen for a moment. His mind couldn't quite process what he had just heard. His daughter, his little girl, pregnant. It felt like the ground had just slipped out from under him. He blinked, trying to understand the situation. Lily's face was pale, and Mike could see the tears starting to well up in her eyes. But before he could react, she continued, "I don't know what to do, Dad. I'm so scared." Mike's mind raced. He could feel his heart pounding in his chest, but he forced himself to stay calm. His daughter needed him now more than ever. He reached out and gently held Lily's hands in his. Her small hands trembled as they gripped his. "Lily," Mike said softly, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling inside him. "We'll figure this out together. You're not alone, okay?" Lily nodded, but her eyes were wide with fear. She looked as though she might cry any second. Mike could feel the weight of her confession, and he wished more than anything that he could take away her fear. He had been there for every moment of her life. Her first steps, her first day of school, all the good times and tough ones. But this was different. This was something he never expected to face. "Dad," Lily whispered, "I don't know what to do. I've been so scared to tell you, but I couldn't keep hiding it anymore." She paused for a moment, taking a deep breath. "I didn't know how to tell you, or anyone. I've just been carrying this secret." Mike's heart ached. He could see how much this weighed on her. Lily was always the one who took care of things, who made sure everything was all right. It was hard to imagine her feeling so lost and alone. He wished he could make the fear go away, but he knew that it wasn't that simple. I'm here for you, Lily, Mike said firmly. Whatever comes next, we'll handle it together. I don't know what the future holds, but we'll get through it. Lily nodded, wiping away a tear that had escaped from her eye. I just didn't know who to talk to. I was afraid of how everyone would react. I didn't want to disappoint you. Mike felt a lump in his throat. You could never disappoint me. You're my daughter. I love you no matter what. Nothing will ever change that. They stood there in silence for a few moments. The noise of the school faded away as Mike focused solely on his daughter. He wanted to say the right things, to help her make sense of it all. But he knew that words weren't enough. Right now, what mattered most was showing her that she could trust him, that he would always be there to support her, no matter how difficult things got. I'm so sorry, Dad, Lily whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't want to hurt you. Mike shook his head. You haven't hurt me. I'm just glad you came to me. You don't have to go through this alone. We'll work through this together. We always do. He felt a weight lifting from his chest. Lily wasn't facing this alone anymore. She had him by her side, and no matter how hard things got, they would figure it out, one step at a time. After a long moment, Mike took Lily's hand and gently led her toward the school exit. Let's get through today first, he said. We can talk more when we get home. We'll take it slow, one step at a time. Lily gave him a small, grateful smile, though her eyes were still filled with worry. But Mike could see the tiniest spark of relief. Maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. Mike and Lily sat in the car on their way home, the silence heavy between them. The usual chatter about the day's events seemed far away now. Lily stared out the window, her thoughts far off. Mike kept his hands on the steering wheel, but his mind was racing. He had no idea how to make sense of everything, but he knew one thing for sure. He couldn't show how scared he felt. Lily needed him to be strong. Lily, Mike said softly, breaking the silence. Are you okay? She turned to him, her face still pale, but with a hint of relief. I don't know, Dad. I don't know what to feel. I feel like I'm in a dream, or maybe a nightmare. I never thought it would come to this. Mike nodded. He understood. This wasn't something any parent was prepared for, but the way Lily looked at him, her eyes wide and filled with fear, made him want to protect her even more. His little girl was growing up, and though he wanted to shield her from everything, he knew she needed his support more than anything. After a few moments, Lily finally spoke again, her voice trembling. I don't even know how it happened, Dad. It wasn't planned. It just happened. She paused, as though searching for the right words. I know I should have been more careful, but everything was just so confusing. And now I don't know what to do. Mike looked over at her, his heart aching. She had always been such a careful, thoughtful child. To hear her say she didn't know what to do, it broke his heart. He had never imagined he would find himself in a situation like this, but here they were. And no matter how difficult things got, he was going to be there for her every step of the way. You don't have to have all the answers right now, Mike said, his voice gentle but firm. We'll figure this out. You don't need to know everything today. What's important is that you're not alone in this. We'll take it one step at a time. Lily gave him a small, grateful smile, though the worry was still there. I don't even know if I'm ready for this, Dad. I don't know if I'm ready to be a mom. Mike felt his heart twist at her words. He could see how overwhelmed she was, and the last thing he wanted was for her to feel like she was facing this huge decision all alone. You don't have to decide anything right now, he said. You're not alone, Lily. Whatever you choose, we will be here to help you. The rest of the drive home passed in a quiet haze, both of them lost in their thoughts. Mike couldn't stop thinking about the future. What did this mean for Lily? What decisions would they have to make? He didn't have all the answers, but he knew one thing for sure. He would stand by her, no matter what. When they finally arrived at home, Mike led Lily inside. They sat down at the kitchen table, where Mike put his hand over hers. We'll figure it out, Okay. Together. Lily nodded slowly, her eyes filled with gratitude. Thanks, Dad. I don't know what I would do without you. Mike smiled softly. You don't have to do it alone. We're in this together. After dinner that evening, the house was quiet. Mike sat in the living room, his thoughts still swirling around everything that had happened. Lily was upstairs, probably thinking just as much as he was. It had been a hard day, and Mike could tell that she was feeling overwhelmed. But he also knew that this wasn't just hard for her. It was hard for him too. Being a parent wasn't always easy, but moments like this tested everything he thought he knew about being a dad. Mike tried to focus on something, anything, to take his mind off the storm of emotions, but every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lily's face, filled with worry and fear. He couldn't shake the image of her standing in that school bathroom, looking to him for comfort. He was supposed to protect her, to keep her safe, but now he wasn't sure how to help her in this situation. It wasn't until he heard footsteps on the stairs that he snapped out of his thoughts. Lily walked down the stairs slowly, her face a little softer than earlier, but still unsure. She hesitated before sitting down next to Mike on the couch. Dad, she began quietly, I've been thinking a lot. I know this isn't something that's going to be easy, and I'm not even sure what I should be feeling right now. She paused, looking at the floor, then back at him. But I need to ask you something. Mike turned to face her, his heart filled with both concern and love. What is it, Lily? She took a deep breath. I don't want to make the wrong choice, but I don't know what the right choice is. I'm scared that I'll mess everything up. Mike felt a heavy weight in his chest. As a parent, all he wanted was to help her make the right decisions, but he couldn't choose for her. Lily, there's no perfect answer here. You're not alone, though. We'll take it one step at a time. The important thing is that you don't feel pressured into anything. We'll talk through it all, and we'll figure out what's best for you. Lily nodded slowly. She looked at him, her eyes filled with worry. I just don't know if I'm ready. I'm only 16. What if I can't do it? What if I fail? Mike reached out and gently took her hand. Lily, you don't have to have all the answers right now. It's okay to feel uncertain. Whatever happens, I know you'll make the best decision you can, and I'll be here for you, every step of the way. The room fell into a comfortable silence. Lily squeezed her dad's hand, taking in his words. There was still so much to think about, but for the first time since the confession, she felt a little bit lighter. She wasn't alone in this, and that meant everything. I just don't want to disappoint you, she said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. Mike shook his head. Lily, you could never disappoint me. You're my daughter, and I love you no matter what. There's nothing you could do that would change that. The most important thing is that you're honest with yourself and with me. Lily smiled softly, the first real smile Mike had seen all evening. Thank you, Dad. I don't know what I'd do without you. Mike smiled back, his heart swelling with love for her. We're in this together. You're not alone. The next few days felt like a blur. Mike and Lily didn't talk much about the pregnancy after their deep conversation on the couch, but both of them knew that the truth was still there, hanging in the air. Mike understood that Lily needed time to think, and he respected that. But at the same time, he couldn't help but worry about her. What if she kept everything bottled up inside? What if she didn't feel like she could talk to him again? Lily, too, spent a lot of time thinking. She felt like she was carrying a huge weight on her shoulders, and she wasn't sure how to lift it. Her friends had no idea what she was going through, and even if she wanted to talk to them, she didn't know how. What if they judged her? What if they didn't understand? She knew her father was there for her, but the more she thought about everything, the more she realized that she needed to talk to someone else, someone who could help her make sense of her feelings. That's when Mike suggested they go to see a counselor. It wasn't an easy decision, but Mike knew it might be helpful for Lily to speak to a professional. They could help her explore her options and give her the support she needed during such a difficult time. At first, Lily hesitated. She didn't know what a counselor could really do for her, and she felt nervous about opening up to a stranger. But after a long discussion with Mike, she finally agreed. She knew it couldn't hurt to have someone else to talk to. After all, she was feeling so lost, and maybe talking to someone who had experience with these situations would help. The following afternoon, Mike drove Lily to the counselor's office. As they parked outside the building, Lily felt a knot in her stomach. She wasn't sure what to expect, but she didn't want to go in. What if I say the wrong thing? What if they don't understand? Lily asked, her voice trembling. Mike reached across the seat and took her hand. It's okay to feel nervous, but remember, you don't have to go through this alone. You're doing the right thing by seeking help. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to face the truth and get the help you need. Lily took a deep breath, feeling her father's reassuring grip. She nodded, though she still felt uneasy. Okay, let's do this. Inside the counselor's office, the warm, calming atmosphere helped Lily relax a little. The counselor, a kind woman named Mrs. Peters, greeted them both with a gentle smile. She didn't seem judgmental at all, which immediately made Lily feel more at ease. After a few minutes of small talk, Mrs. Peters asked Lily to share what had brought her there. Lily hesitated at first, but then began to explain her situation. As she spoke, she could feel the tension in her body start to melt away. Mrs. Peters listened carefully, nodding and offering comforting words. Mike watched quietly, grateful to see Lily opening up. He knew that this was the beginning of a long journey for both of them, but seeing his daughter take the first step toward finding answers filled him with hope. The first counseling session was an eye-opening experience for Lily. At first, she hadn't been sure how much it would help, but by the end of the session, she realized that talking to Mrs. Peters had made a huge difference. The counselor didn't rush her. She simply listened, letting Lily speak at her own pace. It felt good to be able to share her thoughts and fears without worrying about judgment. Over the next few days, Lily continued to visit Mrs. Peters. Each session helped her understand her emotions more clearly. It wasn't easy, but little by little, Lily began to process her situation. She started to feel less like she was carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. During one session, Mrs. Peters asked Lily a question that stuck with her. "What do you want for your future, Lily?" Lily paused, the question taking her by surprise. She had been so focused on the present, on the immediate decision she had to make, that she hadn't really thought about her long-term future. "I want to finish school," she said quietly. "I want to go to college, maybe travel the world one day. I've always had big dreams, but now, I don't know if I'll be able to do any of it." Mrs. Peters nodded, acknowledging Lily's worries. "It's normal to feel uncertain right now, but remember, no decision you make today will take away your dreams for tomorrow. You have the ability to choose what path you want to take, and you can still pursue your goals, no matter what." That conversation stayed with Lily long after she left the counselor's office. It made her think about what she truly wanted in life, not just for the next few months, but for the years ahead. It was comforting to know that she wasn't giving up on her dreams, no matter what happened. Back at home, Mike could see a change in Lily. She was quieter, but there was a new calmness in her that hadn't been there before. He was proud of her for seeking help and finding a way to understand her feelings. They still hadn't talked in detail about what she was going to do, but Mike knew that she was starting to make sense of it all in her own way. One evening, as they sat together in the living room, Lily turned to her father with a serious look on her face. "Dad," she said, her voice steady, "I've been thinking a lot about everything, and I think I'm ready to make a decision." Mike looked at her, his heart racing. He knew this moment was coming, but he wasn't sure what she would say. "What do you mean, sweetie?" Lily took a deep breath. "I'm going to keep the baby." Mike nodded slowly, processing her words. He could see the strength in her decision, but he also knew that it wasn't going to be easy. "Are you sure? You don't have to make any decisions today." Lily smiled, a small, confident smile. "I've thought it through. It's going to be tough, but I'm ready to face it. I'm not going to let this stop me from having the future I want. I'll figure it out, Dad. We'll figure it out together. Mike felt a sense of pride swell in his chest. His daughter was making one of the most important decisions of her life, and she was doing it with the strength and courage he knew she had all along. "You're incredible, Lily," Mike said, his voice full of love. "Whatever happens, I'm with you every step of the way." Lily leaned over and hugged him tightly. "Thanks, Dad. I couldn't do it without you." After Lily's decision, the family's life began to shift. It wasn't an easy transition, and there were still many tough moments, but Mike could see how determined his daughter was. She wasn't backing down from her decision. Every day, she grew a little stronger and more certain of the path she had chosen. As the weeks passed, Lily started to feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. She wasn't alone anymore in her decision. She had her father, Mrs. Peters, and a few close friends who were supporting her. Even though some of her friends didn't fully understand what she was going through, they'd promised to be there for her. That meant more to Lily than she could express. At home, Mike made sure to keep things as normal as possible for her. He took extra time to sit with her, asking how she was feeling and if she needed help with anything. He knew that being a single dad already made things hard, but now, with Lily's decision, their lives were about to change in ways neither of them could fully predict. Still, Mike never once showed fear. He remained positive, telling Lily that they would face the challenges together. One evening, as they sat down for dinner, Lily looked at her dad and smiled. "Dad, I've been thinking about my future a lot. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to finish high school, and after that, I'll go to college. I'm not giving up on my dreams. I can do both, be a mom and pursue my future." Mike looked at her with pride. He had always known that Lily was strong, but seeing her face this challenge with such confidence filled him with hope. "I believe in you, Lily," he said, his voice full of emotion. "You're going to do amazing things, and no matter what happens, I'll always be right here, supporting you." Lily's eyes sparkled with determination. "Thanks, Dad. I know it won't be easy, but I'm ready. I have a lot of work to do, but I'll take it one step at a time. I've learned a lot already, and I know that I can handle it." The months went by quickly, and soon Lily was starting her senior year of high school. It was a mix of excitement and nerves. She had to figure out how to balance everything: school, friends, and preparing for the baby. She had her good days and her challenging ones, but with every step she took, she felt more in control of her own future. Her friends continued to support her, and Lily was thankful for that. Some classmates whispered, unsure how to approach her, but Lily didn't let it bother her. She knew that her journey was her own, and that she couldn't let others' opinions stop her from moving forward. One day, after a tough but encouraging conversation with her counselor, Lily felt ready to share her decision with her teachers. She knew it would be hard, but she needed to let them know about the changes happening in her life. They were understanding, offering their support and flexibility where needed. As she prepared for the big changes ahead, Lily realized that she wasn't just getting ready to be a mom. She was also learning how to be brave, independent, and confident in her own choices. No matter what challenges came her way, she knew that she was strong enough to face them, with her dad by her side. As Lily's senior year continued, things started to fall into place. The first few months had been challenging. Balancing school, her pregnancy, and her future plans was a lot for anyone to handle. But with each passing day, she grew more confident in her ability to manage it all. Her father, Mike, remained her rock, always there to offer support and encouragement when she needed it. Lily's friends, too, began to step up in ways she hadn't expected. Some of them volunteered to help her study for exams, while others offered to help with small things like organizing baby supplies. Even though some of them didn't fully understand the situation, they showed that they cared, and that made a huge difference for Lily. One day after school, Lily and her dad sat down to go over her college applications. Lily had made the decision to apply to a few local universities, ones that would allow her to stay close to home while also helping her achieve her dreams. As Mike went over her application essay, he smiled. "You've written a great essay, Lily. You've been through so much already, and your strength really shines through in your writing," Mike said, proud of his daughter's perseverance. Lily looked at him, feeling a wave of emotion. "Thanks, Dad. I'm doing this because I know I can still have a future. I can still make something of myself. It's going to be tough, but I've got a plan." Mike nodded. "You always have a plan, and I know that no matter what, you'll keep pushing forward. I'm so proud of you." The months leading up to graduation were a whirlwind. There were days when Lily felt overwhelmed, but she never gave up. She kept her focus on what was ahead and refused to let the obstacles stop her. When she had to go to doctor's appointments, Mike took time off work to drive her. When she needed help studying, her dad was always there to help her review. The day of her high school graduation was a bittersweet moment for Lily. She walked across the stage with her head held high, feeling both proud and excited for the next chapter. Mike sat in the crowd, tears in his eyes, watching his daughter achieve something he knew she'd worked so hard for. She had made it through one of the toughest years of her life, and she was about to take her first step into the future. After the ceremony, Lily hugged her dad tightly. "I did it, Dad. I graduated." Mike smiled through his tears. "You sure did. And this is just the beginning, Lily. You've got a bright future ahead of you." Lily smiled back, feeling stronger than ever. "I know. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm ready. I'm going to be the best mom and the best student I can be. Nothing is going to stop me now." In the years that followed, Lily's determination never wavered. She successfully graduated from college with honors, balancing motherhood with her studies. She built a life for herself and her child, always remembering the lessons she had learned about strength, love, and perseverance. Mike remained by her side every step of the way, proud of the woman his daughter had become. They had faced tough challenges, but together, they had overcome them. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had brought them closer, and Lily knew that whatever came next, she could handle it, because she was no longer afraid of the future.